All right. We are live. We're back with, I guess, a American Thanksgiving special. I'm going to call it a weekend at Bernie's, but really, it's for you down south, Canada. It's actually freezing for a month now, and Thanksgiving was like a month ago.
Do you guys celebrate Black Friday?
Don't they have Boxing Day up there?
Online, yeah.
Boxing Day is the day after Christmas.
Oh, it's after Christmas. Fuck.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love how we all find each other on the holidays. Like, you know, like it was New Year's, last Thanksgiving. Like, I love that we somehow all come together on a holiday.
Yeah. Nice.
And the viewers.
I do like that it's actually like Black Friday, because Black Friday is a pretty universal holiday. Capitalism somehow brings us all together, which is also interesting.
Consume,
right?
Consumerism is really the thing, I think.
Did you all get what you wanted on your Black Friday wish list? I guess we should start off with saying.
Honestly, I woke up like 2 hours ago. I missed the entire thing.
Hey, I need to know what mic. I need to get 2 mics like that you wear to interview someone. I need to know which one to get. Like
lapels, probably like Shure. I think makes some good lapels. If you can, they're cheaper. They're decent. They're all right.
Like this clip-on mics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, you can use Rode. Rode's good. Yeah, I was like, you can plug a mic directly into your phone, so someone can record from their phone. There's apps like Rode makes an app, and you can synchronize it to the cloud and have them upload their track and label it properly. It's annoying because you're gonna have to synchronize 2 things of audio. Synchronizing audio is not that fun. It's okay.
That's what I wanted to know too. Like, if you plug in one, will it work for both? Like both of the mics? Or
you have to get 2 microphones connected to like like a rig, or you can have a thing that has 2
knowledge
channels
right here. Shout out to Holohan if you're watching, and or Gnostik. Gnostik was supposed to be joining us, but sadly, I'm always late, and he's got a curfew due to these charge. Anyways, that's a whole other story for a whole other podcast. But our musical guest was not able to make it, but we've got a whole bunch more coming, and that I'm reconnecting with a whole bunch of the freestyling King of the Dot, as well as hip hop community and producers, and we're gonna turn that into a weekly show as well. And do go over the software you're talking about, Xirtus, that plugs in with it, and
No,
which
just have
cloud does it?
Oh, you can
What cloud?
you can connect it to like Google or whatever cloud. I don't know what people use now.
Perfect.
One cloud or whatever. You can
Google
connect to
is
anything you
everything.
want. But you can have some of the mics, like if you get a Shure setup, or I mean a Rode setup, they have multiple channels. So there'll be a box and then there's radio. So you have like a wireless microphone, but there's still a box that they wear. But then that transmits the radio signal, and then that records it onto the box. Some of those boxes can, I think maybe, I don't think Zoom does that yet. They should do that. Zoom would be a good company to do like a digital lav kit, but I don't think that's out yet.
I find Zoom very obsolete because Discord already exists.
No, not that. So there's a Japanese company that's named Zoom that makes audio recorders.
Ah,
Let
gotcha.
me see. Ugh. So
A different Zoom Gunwoo.
Drop my earbud. But this is a an audio recorder from Zoom, the
Holy
Japanese company.
Hmm.
And so this is a good one because it has ports here. So you can have 4 XLRs and then 2 4 XLRs, like 2 on either side, and then 2 1/4-inch that could also double as XLRs. And you've got a built-in microphone, but this is swappable. So then you can put in, another extension. So you can actually add another one of these. So you can have another set of XLR outputs to microphones. But I'm sure they could make what they should make is like a lavalier.
We need to start recording like questions for like Andreas and his answers. It's better than Ask Jeeves, which I'm like, Gunwoo doesn't even know probably about Ask Jeeves. It's like better than AI. Like that's
you know
what
what
your
Ask Jeeves?
Discord should be doing is like
Wasn't
do you think
Ask
about this?
Jeeves like the original Ask?
Yeah,
So we're gonna have to make an Ask Xirtus AI and then have like the
We're already
Xirtus
programming it. Let's
off
start it.
or whatever, right? Like
I like it because it will never answer your question and it'll start talking about something else. Like, look at this thing, and we could invent something.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so tonight's topic titled Megaliths of America, and we're going to go over Giant's Playground, which is Julie Ryder's work, which is just next level, and it's just south of the border of where I am in Alberta. I'm also going to show some of the sites that I've hiked myself in Alberta that look like giant megalithic sites, just like in Montana. Also look at Sage Wall a little bit. And because so StreamYard was having issues with Chrome with like the sound, and they announced that they fixed it. But then since they fixed it, they like logged my one Google account out of my other Google account. So now I'm like over here struggling on another computer. So please do bear with us. This one. So this right here is what I suspect to be some guardians, and then up behind it is this what looks like a pathway carved into a giant cliff face. And which computer is that picture on? All right. Oh my God. Struggling. And then also going to go over the Badland Guardians that I also visited this summer.
That right there is in Alberta. That one?
Yes. Both of those are in Alberta. Both of those that I just showed. The first one is behind Mount Yamnuska, which is right at the beginning of the entrance of the Canadian Eastern Rockies. Entering in along the Trans-Canada highway that goes through the mountains across Canada, essentially, but it's just one range over, and looks very.
She looks
suspect.
like Queen Calafia. Don't you think she looks like Queen Calafia?
Yeah, I can see that resemblance.
Mm-hmm.
A very afro face.
I definitely see a face. Yeah, it looks kind of indigenous for sure.
100%. And yeah, there's.
But I don't
Looks
know.
like a
seven-
quarter.
like-
It looks like something on a coin.
As much as I see a face, right? Like people can just dismiss this as like a coincidental pattern, from like a river or something.
Yeah, of course.
So like, is there anything like more concrete to this?
But
Or
oh yeah, so that's what I was gonna go over when I get pull up the right folder here in a minute of when I actually visited there on foot, and that everything is covered in terraces, which looks like artificial construction all the way up. But this right here is another one that is called the Mystery Rocks of Saskatchewan. And this was taken by Wandering Wolf Mike, and I wanted to bring up him and all of his epic work. And he was on Brighter Insight today with Jimmy talking about Sage Wall, which is also in Montana, right next to the Giants Playground site. And that they're actually doing quite advanced ground penetrating radar and different seismic studies on it, and what looks to be almost conclusive evidence that it is artificial, but that's quite the claim. I think it's the case.
It's my dream to have like first graders have LiDAR and like make all these discoveries.
Anyways,
Like, look,
I'm
first
gonna
graders
drop
can
this-
do it.
yeah, once public school budgets get to that point, I guess.
LiDARs.
Yeah.
LiDARs for kids.
Jimmy
Like
Corsetti
that.
just did some LiDAR stuff on his X. He posted some stuff about that. You know, Corsetti, who does the Mauritania version of Atlantis.
Right, and
Yeah, Bright Insight, right. Yeah, he put
Eye
up
of
some
Africa.
stuff. He's been posting a bunch of pictures of Mars that look like eyes of Africa, which is like, hopefully that'll be a good place for people to comment and let him know their thoughts on that.
I
But
love
you
seeing
also-
the Devon Island side by side with
Yeah. I was just about to say, like,
with
how
Mars,
much?
like what?
Yeah, how much can we rely on Mars footage if it's
That's
Right.
the.
yeah?
I hope
That's the
someone.
first thing I think of.
I hope someone asks him that. I'm
Because
looking forward
if
to
that's
seeing
the
his
case,
response.
then there's like Atlantis type rings in Devon Island that mean, right?
Right.
Sweet.
Let's all go to Devon Island.
Right.
I'm
They're
for
like,
it.
oh, but we just send our rovers there because the terrain is so similar.
It sounds like a fun place to
There's
be.
similar rings in Devon Island, just like the pyramids in Devon Island.
Oh no,
Hey.
we're just assuming so because of the Mars footage showing rings.
I've not heard of.
Right. So if Mars footage is
Gotcha,
actually
gotcha.
Devon
Here, I'll pull it
Island,
up
that
if
would
you
mean
want.
Devon Island has rings.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's look into Devon Island.
Yeah. This isn't a big deal, but here's his like Mars Richrat structure. It's almost as if these two things are related. And then there's this one. I mean, I love Jimmy Corsetti, don't get me wrong, he's cool. But he's doing it a bunch. Here's another one. Boom biddy boom. Bang diddy bang. It's just, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if this is just a LiDAR image of the actual Eye of Mauritania.
He has been talking about that a lot recently. He's been doing a lot of LiDAR stuff. I don't know if how far back I
Right.
have to go to find it now. He's also been posting a bunch of Masonic rituals. I think he's getting a rude awakening really fast, is what's happening.
Yeah, I did see the Masonic rituals get pipelined to me. It's like, oh shit.
He's like, have you ever seen a ritual like this? It's just like, dude.
No, yeah, I have a
guy.
some
guy.
Mason.
He's
Did it
literally
say-
like, have you ever seen this before? Yeah.
Yeah, some
an
bigger
owl.
Mason on
Looks like
YouTube
an owl, doesn't it?
forgot to put his like video history and whatever stuff on private. So I managed to through him find like a whole YouTube playlist of all the rituals done in the 90s and early 2000s in like VHS quality
That sounds
videotape.
lovely. Yeah.
I'll link that eventually.
What is this sign? Oh, what's that? Oh, or was that? Oh, sorry. Somehow that was my fault. All right, so it looks like
The Bohemian Grove Owl.
yeah. So the owl
I'm
thing,
also crashing.
the owl thing looks interesting because it looks upside down. You know, like if you, I should pull it back up actually just for that. What I like about the owl is that I don't know if I can flip it though. So I'm gonna flip my screen. You're gonna have to stand on your head. It's the only way.
It's a new ritual.
Yeah, hold on. Where'd it go? Corsetti House.
Or
Okay,
just go to internet history, bro.
that's right here.
Like,
Forget that. Learn to memorize phone numbers. Are you kidding me?
True.
Hold on. It's right here. And then go down a bit. Where was it? Yeah, ritual. No, further.
Here's page wall.
Here's he's seeing some owls here. The owls are owls.
Vanessa Al.
Where's the freaking? How far do I have to go?
His first time ever.
It must have gone by.
No,
it.
yo, just on
find
the
out
side it
about-
says search. You can can't you just search what's on his profile?
Did
Dude,
you
it
guys
has
see
to
that
be
guy
right here.
that it's getting like it's going viral of like they're decoding the Masonic symbol that it shows the design of this place with like inner earth, the black sun, and like it being the Masonic symbol. Have you seen that? Like even what's his name? Night God 333 covered it.
Wait, which
Like,
location?
Just decoding the symbol of the Masonic of like how it shows the design of the realm.
Oh, okay.
I can find the link and send it to you.
You'd think that the owl would be here somewhere, right? It's gotta be like right here somewhere.
But low key, I have to say that stuff is like kind of old.
Is this
news.
the
Like,
image? They're
early
hiding the image.
Web
Ah.
2 mid 2000s YouTube pretty much covered everything that had
Yeah.
to do with Masonic symbolism.
Right?
Remember the
I
whole
was like,
Illuminati
this is
craze
first
back in like
experience
2008 when Obama
Bohemian
became
Grove?
president?
How hard is it to even
Right.
just get this? It shouldn't take that much effort to get the thing, right?
Well, I feel like people learn knowledge and they get like very aristocratic with it, where they're like, oh, like the other day I saw Michael Tellinger post a thing about jet fuel, and he's like, I fell down a rabbit hole. Like there is no jet fuel, and I was like, like I fell down that in 2014. Like
Oh,
it
right.
becomes aristocratic of like, oh, you're just now getting into the Masonic rituals, are
It's not
you?
aristocratic. I see it rather as hipster. You know,
Like
we were
a
there before us.
hierarchy, a knowledge hierarchy, where sometimes these people gain these knowledge and they shame other people. Like, what? Oh, what? You think that? Like the knowledge shaming of like,
Right.
whoa,
What's-
everyone's at their different pace.
What's cute about the owl is if you flip it upside down or if you stand on your head, that all of a sudden it becomes this Moloch thing, right? Because all of a sudden you get these big, weird, freaking legs that are the owl eyes, and then you've got these horns, which are the owl feet that become the horns of the thing. I really want to flip this image. It's making me sad. Keep going. I'll work on that in the background here.
But yeah, like so. I mean, the hierarchy. Of
The snobby. We
Yeah.
get snobby. We get cocky. We learn some shit, and then we're like, yeah.
I
get
do fall in that
confident.
trap occasionally. It's mainly due to ego. I mean, like everybody's at fault for that. It's trying to let go is the whole process.
You see it now? Look at this. It's like a freaking monster from the Fifth Element or something.
Oh,
It's like popping
Whoa.
around. Yeah. No one ever thinks about that version of it, I think. But then it puts, instead of in its heart,
insectoid.
Exactly. And instead of putting it in its heart, it puts the Congress in its genitals, and all of a sudden the building becomes its phallus. And I find that to be far more
Wow.
Masonic in the long term.
Right? The phallus
Mm,
worship.
right. Yeah, because the whole obelisk stuff in DC and everywhere.
Yeah. But of course,
the
if you flip it, it
alignments in
becomes
like
the crown.
Antiquitech
Then-
of it, like
then
what
the phallus
Howard was
becomes the crown.
talking about the other night, Xirtus, at the end of that stream when he was talking about the royal like technology that was what was he calling them, like single megaliths or something like that? Just
Or even just
Geo-
the power beneath the wings of like, like Schauberger, Victor, of of seeing the wings extended like that and how it's like a hummingbird and the
oh yeah,
scarab.
Right. Yeah, and I like that
Lots
also,
of
the idea, because
in there.
on that level, then you can see that each eye of this bird as one of the heads of a double-headed, like the Scottish Rite symbol is this bird with two heads. It's like an eagle, but it's also a phoenix. And here, hold on. You can see there, and then there you go, right? Like the two heads. There we go. Right. So look how the heads are angled, and then look again at how these heads are
Oh,
right.
wait. When did the American eagle ever have two heads? Wouldn't this be an homage to the Holy Roman Empire?
So it's a couple things, yeah. But like, so the Scottish Rite, I feel like it's supposed to be originally a phoenix. I don't think it's originally supposed to be an eagle, but
Mm.
Scottish Rite double-headed eagle of Lagash. Okay, so the double-headed eagle is an iconographic symbol originating from the Bronze Age, so it's not from the United
Yeah,
States.
the double-headed eagle symbolism comes from Zoroastrianism. It's the representation of Ashur. So if you look up early images of Ashur and how they were depicted under Zoroastrianism, it becomes eventually adapted into a double-headed eagle. Let me actually pull it up. Actually,
Yeah, I think it's funny because like the owl is like the symbol of keeping secrets amongst the other things. So it's funny, like, well, people will say, "Oh, I get it. It's about the owl," and then they'll leave it at that. But there's always another mystery. There's always another layer to one of these things. There's at least,
Some
I
people
think
say that it's
owl-
because the owls eat their young. They say that that's why they worship it. Some people.
Yeah,
Ashur
so do
god, Ashur god.
goldfish and frogs and like
Yeah.
chickens
yeah,
sometimes. I
owls
So-
are owls are also, so they're the harbinger of death, but they're also the harbinger of news, right? In general, and they're the watchers, and they also are protectors of secrets.
Hey,
so
I
there's
wanted
Like
to.
Athena being super attached to that in that.
exactly, that's the
Yeah.
thing. The owl protects Athena, or also protects Easter, Ostar, and also Ashtar and Asherah, and a lot of the goddesses, Isis even is associated. So throughout cultures, a lot of the time the goddess is associated with having an owl that keeps her
Oh my
safe.
gosh, I love this because there's literally a white owl. I talk about it that goes where I go, and people don't believe me. So
It's
I
the owl
started
David
filming
Bowie,
it.
Julia.
Hey, I want to
It is
talk
David
about
Bowie.
this.
Filmed it.
Sorry to interject it on, but like I want to talk about the symbol a little bit. I dissected, when it first entered Tartaria, I dissected
Whoa,
this
hold
symbol.
on.
It's the
Like-
image of Ashur. The oldest depiction of God under Zoroastrianism is Sumeria, right? And this is pretty much the root of all occultic symbology, coming down to the double-headed eagle. So you see the two little knots above the top. That's where the double head comes from, and that's the wings. And the god is in the center, and that circle is supposed to be like a Vamana chariot, which is also depicted as a Dharma chakra. Dharma
The
chakra.
circle looks like it's got a propeller within it, and then
Yeah,
what
it's
I'm
supposed to
seeing in those
represent a
wings,
Vamana, right?
would those actually be thrusters instead of wings? Like, because it's like ripples almost coming out. Could those be like jets or something potentially?
Do a side-by-side comparison of this and the Dharma chakra, and it makes
Remember
so
in
much
Oliver
sense.
Stone's Alexander movie, that was the last thing it showed before he died. Remember on the tapestry that was like flying, like that was like a fan. They showed that is like the last thing that Alexander saw before he died.
I don't recall, but that's interesting.
So the symbol of
Dharma
Ashur, where you can find it in the Dharma chakra. So you see, so it's the wheel, right? No wings, but in the center is the tri yin yang, the Trinitarian symbol representing God. And people don't put this together.
Let's do another one. So if we go to the Xirtus, right, and there's like, oh, the Xirtus is a freaking fish,
Mhm.
But if you look at it, what they were doing a lot more, and the fish is not as common actually, is they were taking the eye, putting it here in the middle of this, making the X across the eye, adding an O
The chariot wheel,
around
being
it,
a symbol
putting
for
the
God.
Y,
Yeah.
and then the E. So this is actually the symbol that they ended up using the most common symbol before the Xirtus symbol was the Dharma chakra, right? But they were kind of forced out of using the Dharma chakra.
It was
into-
not necessarily the Dharma
There we
chakra.
go, yeah.
It goes further back to the sun cross.
Well, I mean, the sun cross not the Dharma chakra, bro.
Oh yeah, it is true, but like yeah.
I mean, the Dharma chakra is.
It also reminds me of the 8-pointed star of the Inanna. You know, there's 8
Mhm.
there. 1, 2,
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
3,
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to. I think it has to do with like being able to keep form. So I think the Dharma chakra is interesting because it has a lot to do with symmetry and the ability for atoms to socialize and be persons, right? Personification. And so the idea, like atheism and theism, really, I think comes to an interesting conclusion at Dharma chakra because it's the idea that personification is sort of complexity of consciousness. So we're not that solid, and the universe is more solid than we think. Basically, it's kind of like that idea. But yeah, I find that interesting because it also states, or it also kind of infers a knowledge of dharmic law in early Christianity or like late Judaism or something. Like something's going on where
Okay, well, stay with me. They're at Stardust Ranch, which is on the same ley line as Skinwalker Ranch. And this guy, he actually passed away, I think, last year. But he would have all these different beings that showed up on his ranch. Look into it; it's fascinating. And he said, like, you could see videos of like grays behind him when he was like filming. And Carrie Cassidy went and interviewed him and stuff. But one of the beings dropped something, like one of the things that he saw on his property dropped something. And when you look at it, and you can find it, I can't pull it up right now, but it looked like a dark black, like rock or obsidian or something. I don't know what it was made out of. But inside of it, it looked almost like an 8-pointed star. And he was like, is this how they travel dimensionally? And I was like, oh, that's, the fact that it's designed very similar to where it looks like a 8-pointed star. I found that significant.
I'm not sure where to look, and by looking at Skinwalker Ranch, I'm going to see some creepy.
No, Stardust. It's Stardust. It's Stardust Ranch. And it was like the being had left it behind, and it was like an artifact rock. Like it was like a rock that was carved, like a black rock that was carved in to like a.
Boom.
It looks a lot. Oh yeah, zoom in. How many points is it? I can't remember.
Interesting.
I was more blown away by Stardust Ranch than anything I've ever heard about Skinwalker. No disrespect. And it's on the same ley line as well.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch is very it's like pedestrian at this point, and it's just too much about it.
Sure.
It's one of those like it's like the JFK assassination. It's pretty much entered the public mainstream at this point, so it's not necessarily like niche or
it's on History
anymore.
Channel.
Yeah, it's on History Channel.
I like the name. Stardust. Sounds good.
There's Stardust Ranch. There's a Bridgewater Gap as well, which is also very interesting.
Yeah, I like this idea. I mean, so yeah, and also in general, like the idea that there's something uniting that is in the past and in the future kind of also makes sense too. There's something that's like outside of time, so it's not affected by time. So, Dharma Chakra. I like it.
Should that be a time portal? An ancient time portal.
Right? We're like, that's all we needed this whole time? We just needed to carve this into a rock and just set our intentions on it? Like, are you kidding me? You kidding me right now?
Well, theoretically, if like time travel is real, and if you have like God or creator, time travel would be like God, like technology. And then it's like, well, if the ancients were time traveling, well, then they'd also be able to exist simultaneously in the future or even right now.
Did you guys hear the story of Elon Musk's nanny saying, listen, like she was his nanny and came out, was like, yeah, he opened a portal in his room. I went in there. He grabbed my hand because he said he was going to play with his friends. He grabbed my hand, and then she talks about her experience, and it's unbelievable.
Christ.
Like, it's really unbelievable. You got to hear what she says.
Right. It's something like that is so extraordinary.
What I found very significant is when you talk to, like, you've heard certain people interview on Art Bell,
mm-hmm.
and they've spoken, and different people's in the project, even Andrew Basiago, where he talked, where you hear, and I hear this time and again, and it gets more and more difficult to find these testimonies of these people that are talking about having a parent involved in some type of project or some type of project at some type of level, and they are a child and they need the child to access these portals. So I'm like, there's some what is that like? And then of where they have to hold hands, and they go to a location in far distance, but quickly. Like Andrew Basiago says that he went with his dad and he was in Long Island at the Tesla place, and that when they arrived, which wasn't that much time later, I don't know if he said 30 minutes or what, but that they came up from a courthouse in New Mexico, and and then you hear of other ones of like, yeah, this little girl, I think she was on the Art Bell show, and she spoke of her dad being in the military, and she went into a jump room, and he held her hand. He's like, yeah, he told me we were going to Shangri-La, and it was so scary, and we jumped down, and he's like, you're falling. So it's like, are they poor, like, or there's this type of inner earth system, which I always say when people are like, wait, why are Sumerian things that are found in America, like, why are they found there? Like, how did they get from here to there? It's like, obviously they travel. They're like, oh, they knew this, they knew how to navigate the seas by the stars. It's like, no, obviously they traveled another way that's inside the earth. Now, how these things work, like, you could call them a wormhole, but it could just be the way things bend beneath or whatever. But I found it very interesting that you need to be holding on to a child for these people to access it, like an innocent. Like, it's almost like it breaks away, because what I've discovered with Inner Earth, of like it being a navigation of the heart. And so maybe that's like a way to access, or you're using the child's pure heart to get in, like a key.
Well, it could still be connected to this other dimensional realm, right?
Right.
Adding on to
Spiritual.
what you said about the Sumerians in America, it's just funny because the biggest repository of Sumerian artifacts found in America is from a cave, Cuevas Los Tallos. We talked about this. I think it's
All
last
the
year.
Crespi collection.
Yeah. Now mysteriously burned down after
Right.
he left. Yeah.
Terry Carter had a great thing on. He interviewed a woman, and she had found this thing, and she, on one side, it was it was Tutankhamun's high priest. It was his symbol, and then on the other side of it was his cartouche, and that was found in Utah or Idaho. And that's the thing, is a lot of these countries are vying, and they're fighting, like the guy with Hobby Lobby, his collection of Sumerian tablets was confiscated, because they're like, this is Sumerian, this belongs to Iraq, this is ours. Which is like, now hold on here, like the tablet I'm working on, there's Sumerian on it. There's cuneiform and Proto-Sumerian, and there's a third ancient language. But like, these countries are vying for, like, Egypt's demanding, tried to tell Germany, like, we want our Nefertiti back. And they're like, no, we're going to be its ambassador. Like, it's like, no, we got this. Of these these unclear laws of like, oh, well, this is ours. Like the relic world of like, oh no, but it's our language. Like, it happened here. So I was surprised to see that Hobby Lobby was confiscated, especially as
The
wealthy
fact
as
that
that guy is.
Hobby Lobby CEO even has Sumerian text is wild to me.
And based in Super American, I think that's a real tragedy. Got taken away. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad I got sent home, but you had to wonder about what state it got sent to. Like, who really got it, and who's in charge of that museum, and is
Right.
it really the Iraqi government, and who's the new Iraqi government, and it just seems like
I think the Smithsonian was like given control officially or something. No,
there you
Yeah,
go.
why are these
That
institutions?
sounds like
even
slightly
take
worse,
over.
doesn't it?
Yeah, why are these institutions notorious for stealing artifacts, giving
Belongs in
control
a
over-
museum.
Yeah.
Communist. That's all right. Ooh, see, someone said they didn't see a Shvazi cross before. This is straight on the Christian Wikipedia. What do you know for the Exodus? Boom.
Just think about how much power they probably got from
Ancient
going after the relics,
technologies.
of like the secrets and the power, like the technological power of like, go to the relics, decode
Right.
the relics.
Alchemy stuff.
I like this windmill looking Saint Nino's cross right here. These are good. These
Yeah,
are
holy
great.
shit. Yeah, the Nina cross is pretty much the Algae symbol in Nordic runes.
Yeah, it looks kind of almost like I was gonna say like a leave-in, but very much
Yeah.
more like an algae for sure. That's funny. Oh, look at this. Marion cross.
What?
Triple crossed. This is fun. Cross is no, it's triple
Energy.
cross too. Where's the cross of Saint Lorraine? There's the patriarchal kind of like cross Saint Lorraine. Tilted cross. What's a tilted cross for? I remember seeing that before and thinking it wasn't a great sign, but maybe it means something somewhere to some people. It's a good thing.
The fact that
I
that's crooked,
wonder
I
if
wonder what
these
that means.
crosses are the keys to Solomon's sigils.
These are pretty great. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of power to them also, because like compass and positive and negative, but yeah, it's interesting because the cross is on so many flags too. You know, like they use it as a their power for their symbol for heraldry.
Going back to the whole Canada stuff. So yeah, we briefly mentioned before we went on live about the Beothuk people in Newfoundland. So so I was reading more into them on their Wikipedia page, and just find my mock populations. So yeah, so it was the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq population. They both contain haplogroup C and haplogroup X DNA, which is very unique to either haplogroup C being Northern Siberian, haplogroup X being Druze, and somehow they're found native to Newfoundland. And so I was looking into the Mi'kmaq population because there's not much really information on the Beothuks because they were one of the tribes that the Canadian government tried to erase. But if you look at the flag for the Mi'kmaq people, holy shit! Put the link in the no. The link is in super chat or not super chat, private chat.
Sorry, it's stupid double computer and logging me out.
Bro, look at this
I
shit.
think it's actually I know it's Elkman that shout out Elkman Ryan that goes into that tribe and their history a lot more that you might be thinking of.
Right, this is new to me, right? Like how did they end up with this flag, this almost Islamic Christian flag?
Yeah, right.
Maybe the
in
Venus. What was the deal?
Newfoundland?
It's supposed to be the Venus star and the moon, right? So maybe it's important to
that
them. But yeah,
star had
the
6
fact that
spikes.
they speak Eastern Algonquin, I was just mentioning earlier when we were talking about how that looked like Algonquin to me when you said they looked black because, or African, or I forget if you said black or not. But the point is that they probably are Moorish or something. There's a lot of evidence that the Algonquins are Moorish people. That they're had a trade network of
more Arabic type, definitely somewhere from the Middle East for sure. Because like we mentioned earlier, they have Druze DNA. Andreas, you went quiet. What happened?
No, this is amazing. I have somebody that was on my Call of Duty clan that lives in Newfoundland. So I'm like, I gotta tell him. I was like, ooh, the second you said Newfoundland, because most people don't even know about Newfoundland.
Right?
If you're Canadian, you know a Newfie, especially if
yeah. I've watched Letterkenny. I know what Newfies, yeah.
And Nova Scotians, to all the Maritimes. Great folk. But yeah,
yes,
so I've actually done a couple episodes with Elkman and Shem Tartarian Truth there on up in the northeast of Canada and the Micmac and the how do you pronounce it? The
Beothuk?
Beothuk.
Yeah.
So close to Beowulf. Probably its origins.
Right? Let me link that. Let me Beothuk in the private chat as well.
Ooh, another thing about a tablet found was the Hearn tablet that was found in the south that has I think Sumerian on it as well. That was found in America.
Before we go to the Fern tablet.
Hearn.
Before we go to the Hearn tablet, let's check out Come From Away. Have you heard of this?
No.
So if you're into Newfoundland, like a lot of people are, 'cause it's pretty cool. There's a new musical called Come From Away. It's not that new. It's a couple years old now. But it's all about September 11th. And it's all about how they took all the people that were in the plains. And they were like, we have to put them somewhere. So they put them in Newfoundland. And this town was not expecting it. And they loved, having visitors. But it was doubled the population overnight. No one was ready. And they were there for a week or more. And they had to give them food and jackets.
So this is like a Malaysian Airlines situation where the plane gets rerouted and the survivors are dropped off somewhere else.
Or the powerful bloodlines are segregated on an island type thing.
Except
what the fuck?
Except it's
except
the
not
British government made a propaganda.
It was literally 9/11 that
all this is even bigger.
all of the Atlantic or over cross Atlantic flights
Inspiring,
from
inspiring.
Europe.
Wait, is
got
this based on like
diverted
an actual
to-
true story?
this is
or-
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
true.
this actually
Yeah.
happened on September 11th. Yeah.
What?
This is super based. This is actually, if you check it out, they have like one of the only pieces of actual steel from like, because those melted steel beams, right? Yeah. So there's a piece of steel that they brought to the town of Gander, Newfoundland. And so in Gander, they the mayor, he drinks a lot, and so he had to quit drinking for like a day and a half, and it was pretty brutal, as far as I can tell. I mean, I want to start doing a thing on like onions. Like onions, I call things like the things
What
that make you
the
cry. Like I got like at least
fuck?
2 or 3
That
onions on
have
this.
many layers to the onion, and
There's
each
moments-
layer you peel back and you're crying more and more tears.
Just no, I don't get that, but I get like sometimes I'm like, dang, that almost stung a little bit. And when you see earnest people being manipulated and exploited like this, it's hard. Sometimes it'll make you almost want to cry for them. But
What
it's
was
just it's so cool because they're so beautiful and so earnest. You're like, dang, Newfoundland.
7,000 people were stuck in Nova Scotia. Like, why?
Because
September
every
11th.
flight that was coming
Oh,
over
right.
the Atlantic from Europe was rerouted from New York to Newfoundland when the attacks happened on September 11th.
So what's
Holy shit,
interesting
I
is
didn't know
there's
about
And then
this.
they
There's
had
this
all
airport-
flights grounded for a week, right? That they couldn't fly. Every plane was grounded for a week, basically. Like there was 0 flights.
very, very few people today fly to Gander, but at one point in history, you couldn't cross the Atlantic without going through Gander. Gander was a town created by transatlantic commerce, and so you'd have to stop off in Gander, and then you might fly from California to New York to Gander,
Take a
Gander to
gander, eh?
London, and at some point in the 70s, to the 80s, it became pretty common to just fly directly to New York from London. And I mean, the 60s it was possible, but it stopped being such an important layover town pretty much by the 80s. And that's great because then it became a peaceful little town with a giant airport, and they were thinking about tearing down the airport. But then they decided, well, they can't tear down the airport because they might need Gander. And so there was half of the flights that were dropped off in Bermuda, and the other half were dropped off in Gander. That's basically the deal.
Yeah, when I was first reading into this, I was under the impression that like the surviving plane from 9/11.
Oh no, it was
passengers-
thousands of planes that were
Yeah.
told to land because they were told they
Yeah,
weren't
just
supposed to.
international.
Not
or,
thousands
yeah,
of planes.
No, I just
intercontinental
read 9/11
coming-
passengers and was immediately confused. My bad.
Right, no, like everyone who was flying that day who couldn't land.
Right,
and
yeah.
Every flight was told. So anywhere you were, anywhere in the country, anywhere you were going, right? They were sent to
That's-
specific places.
Still so weird.
They emptied the entire air sky.
It was a
everything.
very weird day that day. And then they didn't allow anyone to fly for a week. That's why they were all stuck in Gander, except for Bin Laden's family. That was a flight that they somehow let go.
Yeah.
but,
Holy
everybody
shit.
else was stuck in Gander. And shout out to Holohan watching. Battle Rap great man Jeff Holohan from Gander, and he's going to be on a podcast in the next week or two with me. So we will have an actual Ganderian
That's awesome.
Newfoundlandian to tell their story.
Yeah.
And
Gandian. That's even better. I was gonna say Gandonite, but I think Gandians. I like it better. Gandians. The
Bro,
Gandians.
what the fuck is this? The
Yeah,
whole
it's-
Bin Laden thing? Holy shit. Like
Oh,
the one group of people were
Anyway, it's a heartwarming
how many
musical.
trillions of dollars trying to find, and like we just evacuated them out of Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
Are you fucking shitting me?
All right, but we're gonna
And
talk
12
about
of the family has FAA licenses. Jesus Christ!
we're talking about the Hernstone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hearn in the
So-
from the south.
I'll look it
Oh
up
my
right now.
God.
We have a
I think
picture.
they say it's a Syrian.
I swear, like every year, I find out something new about 9/11. I think I know everything about there is. to
Dude,
9/11.
Gunwoo is an
In
M60.
the
Like
meantime,
when you
I'll,
get
play
passionate
for
about
minutes.
something, it's like.
You got it.
Yeah, he does. He's
I
great.
love it.
Okay, Hernstone. Is this wrong? What do I do? Hernstone.
HEARN. The Hearn
H-E-A-R-N.
tablet.
Oh, Hearn tablet. Let's do that.
And it was on Chief Joseph. And a lot of people were like, wait a second. Like, how did he have. Like, he had a symbol on him that was.
Book of Mormon evidence. That's super base. That's
right?
the first thing that comes up. Okay, I'll take it. Keep going though. What do you got?
Look at the size of
well.
it. Because it's significant to me because the tablet that we're working on is about that same exact size, and it was found in Arizona.
Holy shit! So if it's that small, it's most likely a stamp, if anything.
Right.
I would assume.
Right? Oh yeah, they're all prints, the Sumerian little, and they're so tiny, right, Julia? And
Right.
like the
Mhm.
Mormon ones too. Lots of
I don't
them.
think there's a backside to that one.
Believe
How do they read so small? Holy shit!
I know, and that makes me think. You know what it
I'm
makes me think?
maybe
It makes me
find
think of the cave. What was it? Cave in Kentucky of like a graveyard of fairies that was found, like bodies of fairies. If you guys know
I
what
haven't
that
heard about
name is?
this.
Dude, you're down there. You're closer to it. You could like go on site.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Like like it was like a fairy graveyard. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Not at
What it's
all.
called?
Fairy
Like body,
graveyard?
like little bones of all these fairies. It sounds so crazy, but
really.
God, I wish you can pull it up.
so when I see when it just makes
God,
it always reminds me when you see something that's like documenting evidence that's small. In my mind, I get a visual
It's
of
just like
it might
fairies.
be in Kentucky. The grave,
We
the fairy
genocided the
grave.
leprechauns. I
The most
don't know.
horrible idea possible. I mean, I don't know. It's terrifying, really. I don't know. This picture
But
is
one thing that I do
picture
have to add,
dramatic representation of
one thing
Julia's.
I do have to add, so people in Mongolia, the people that live in the steppe, are known to have like 40/20 eyesight for having nothing obstruct their view, and they always see far ahead, right? So human capabilities back then, pre-industrialization, was far more greater than we can perceive or fathom. And with that being said, if back then the Sumerians did have an equivalent eyesight to the Mongols today, or even better, because this is pre like medieval era, whatever. Um, I'm assuming their eyesight was so good that that if they couldn't tolerate any text bigger than that. That's just my assumption.
I don't know that because that's different. If you've got 40, it's because you see really far.
Oh, like
I'd
like
say if
like
you're
psychically
making them
something
out of
that
clay and copper, it's heavy.
no
It's really
psychic.
heavy when your texts are made on copper
I
and clay,
really
right?
just
Stone
want to get those
tablets,
context, though, right?
you
Which is
want
why
to
that
put as
context
much
like that.
info in there.
Of psychically something that I got is like they're kind of like there's certain cuneiform
Neuralink
like there's certain
style.
tablets that work almost like it like when you have 5 pieces it opens something else, like it's a tech thing that's like you
Mm.
place it in and it's like keys that line up that then that's what I got.
These guys look transhumanist and patriotic, and kind of like a mushroom, and Christmassy. I like it.
Wait, so why are we zoomed up in an eye?
I forget.
It's Skynet where it meets Neuralink.
Hern tablet. Hern
The Hern
tablet.
tablet. Yes, because we were talking about tablets
Chief
in
Joseph
of like
uniform?
ancient things,
Hold
and
on.
we were talking.
What's this guy's name? Is his name Chief Joseph Cuneiform? Like, is this a chief that was
No.
for
Chief Joseph of
Okay.
the Nez Perce tribe, and he had a little chunk of Sumerian in his pocket, right?
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Where'd that
I
go?
misread the title there. Oh,
I just lost it. I'll get
nice.
that picture. Hern tablet.
See, there's literally like 30 different sites that all have Sumerian in the Americas. There's also like the Magna Fuente Bowl down in I believe Bolivia. Might be Peru, but I'm pretty sure it's Bolivia. Talked about a bunch. Hans has studied it in depth.
Other tablets with the Syrian connection have been found throughout North America. A tablet similar in size appeared to the Chief Joseph tablet. In appearance similar to the Chief Joseph tablet was found in 1963 in northwest Georgia near the Chattahoochee River. Information below. Okay.
Fuente Magna Bowl. Holy shit.
Northwest Georgia.
He's like, what? The Book of Mormon said this? I'm reading.
Magna Fuente Bowl?
Well, I just think it's funny. At first, I was like, honestly, a little skeptical because I was like, well, they really want stuff to be true. But then, like, sometimes there are also the people that are, if you get the right ones, like they're BYU dudes who are literally archaeologists. So they're more real than any Indiana Jones you'll ever meet because they're just like super aggressively sober archaeologists. You're just like, okay.
Sam.
I mean, it's kind of based. Like, you gotta give it some admiration. You're like, all right, fair enough. Like, you're really trying
Wait, these are found in
Wait,
Georgia?
do you see? Wait, hold on. Do you see in the part of the article? It says in this photo of an ancient relief sculpture, we can see the Assyrian god Ashur upon his throne. In front of him is a disc with the symbol known as the Assyrian star or the Ashur star. It is a four-pointed star with a circle in the center. Radiating out from between the 4 points of the star are rays of light. Assyria adopted a new flag depicting the Assyrian star. And in photos of Chief Joseph, we could see the same design on his medicine bag. Like,
based.
we could see the same design on his medicine bag. Like, so when you guys were talking about that symbol, or and it just kind of all tied together.
Not to mention it's literal like Assyrian oh my goodness. What's the language? Where it's no, not Sanskrit.
Incan, Assyrian, Sumerian, cuneiform.
No. Wow. Sumerian. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, the cuneiform. Sorry. Geez. Wow, that was a mind blank. Yes, the cuneiform. It's literal cuneiform. So it's like that is the language of Sumer. So if you're finding it on artifacts in North America, South America, Central America, it means the Sumerians were in those areas. Like,
and if they're all traveling
what
via
other-
this thing that's like beneath, like Andrew Basiago, he spoke of one in Long Island, and there's one if they're at these different ports throughout America and throughout the world, then it wouldn't be so crazy to think why there's certain languages of things being found. It's like they maybe, I don't know if all of them traveled that way or some of them, but it seems to be like something predated what we're taught about Egypt in America. And the fact that Utah and Ptah, like that's to me very revealing.
I love the fact that you're bringing up Andrew Basiago because I haven't heard about the Project Pegasus project in like 10 years. Man, takes me back.
Right. There's certain things that just like hit different. Certain info that you're like,
it's like forever. Project Pegasus is one of those things where like I just think like nobody else knew about, right? It was just such a niche, like almost bullshit topic that like I was like, ain't nobody else.
Hey, but you know what? So Dark Star, he worked with somebody that worked for Raytheon and said, like, because he worked for a place that was a private defense contracting firm. And that guy worked for Raytheon, and he spoke of the jump room. He would have to service something there, or the jump room El Segundo. And for some reason, I always perk up. I'm like, oh, El Segundo. Like when I would go to practice for the LA Kings at the Toyota Center, it was like right on that block right there. And I was always like, oh my gosh, this is where the jump room is, like somewhere nearby, of hearing all those different stories of the jump room there. But he said he worked on, that Raytheon had something to do with it there in El Segundo. And it was like, what was the address? Like 555 or 666 or 999. You guys know what I'm talking about? They talk about it, like Project Pegasus stuff.
I don't remember that part, but like, I mean, I believe you though. Like, see, because they're always about numerology. Like all these DoD sites are always like on these like very obscure numerological like zoning or like zip codes, right? So you do see cases
and
like
ley line intersections.
Yeah,
right. And then LAX is right there. Like hello, and all those, and just think JPL, with their headquarters was right down the street, like literally probably less than 3 miles away from there. And I mean, they say it was. I guess originally it was Jack Parsons' lab, and then they said, no, it's Jet Propulsion Lab.
Interesting. Is that the entrance to the supposed reptile or ant underground city of LA?
But there's people that say that they arrived in Australia or New Zealand. Do you remember
through LA?
Yeah, the jump room there.
So like I said, this is like 10 years ago for me. The closest thing that
you don't know about the jump room.
But what's also interesting? Wait, hold on. This is dark, but I'm going to bring it up really quickly.
Go ahead.
We don't have to get into details. But is right down the street from there is the McMartin Preschool. What happened there? I mean, this is a whole dark hole. We don't need to get down. But they blocked off. They had that whole thing, and I think it was the longest running trial in California, but these kids were saying like, look, this is going on, but the most significant
What a
part
coincidence.
is that they're tunnels. They all spoke at the tunnels beneath the town, and that's in Torrance. And
Holy
it's
shit.
just right down the street from where the jump room is.
You know, who
And
did a
so
good
if they
job
need
showing the
kids to
jump room?
access this, and there's a preschool, they're saying they're taking me into the tunnels, like you connect those dots. Hello.
You ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer or the spinoff Angel? In the show Angel, there's like a law firm called Wolfram and Hart, and Wolfram and Hart has jump rooms. Like, it's a big part of how the law firm is able to exist in multiple dimensions and take care of like demons and all this stuff, right? And it's also interesting, like,
Oh, this is very Solomonic. The fact that the demons are bound to contract law. What the fuck?
yeah, it's all about contract. Like, the way they find out the law firm, because like,
Oh
he goes
my
to LA.
god.
Eventually he travels through to space and time, and like he sees like this ancient wolf, a ram, and a heart in this other demonic dimension. It's like super
He's a
ancient.
wolf.
A wolf, a ram, and a heart, and then he's like, oh my god, it's Wolf from Heart, like the law firm. And he comes back and he's like, yeah, like we're everywhere, like, you know, we're important. Like, it's
I wonder if some aspect of this is legit. Like if demons really do need lawyers, that'd be hilarious.
They just fall. They have some kind of contract. This is why I didn't become an exorcist or to learn like how to do exorcism. Because if they knew, because the thing is, they know contract and laws so much that if they know like, oh, this chick isn't an ordained minister, they can F with you extra harder, knowing what you can and can't do. Does that make sense? I hope that just came out right.
No.
I don't know.
I've been looking into contract law, maritime law, commerce law, and like how our court system runs. The Court of York has very Masonic, all that stuff. But going back to Andrew Basiago, the most I remember is about him becoming the future president in one of the jumps that he does in Forward in Time. I don't know if you remember about that.
Right, and then he said Barry Soetoro was his roommate.
Yeah,
Barry Soetoro, which was Barack Obama.
Obama,
what was the other one that's good? What's that show?
Yeah, and like this was
Phantom
before that Obama's alias was Barry Soetoro. Before that was
Right.
broken
He
into the
came out
public.
and said this,
He
and
came
people
out,
thought it was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
And then it checked out. It like years later, but was there was only two reasons why I
Yes,
agreed.
he was
to,
one of the first people to break out the Barry Soetoro alias.
yes,
I
and
was unaware of that.
Him and Gary Sinclair.
Yes, and him and Samus Monagich is the reason why I agreed to do my first conference, was because I was like, oh my god, Andrew. I geeked out so hard. I was like, Andrew Basiago is going to be there, and Samus Monagich. Those were just two people that just hit different, Like
Yeah, I'm
I wanted
surprised,
more.
they haven't been, suicided to the back of the head yet, because like they told so many things that were proven to be somewhat true, like
Right? Like, you got Smonagich talking about scalar waves and like
Yeah.
being a real life Indiana Jones, like that means something.
it's like, yeah, how is Andrew Basiago kept alive? What kind of leverage does he have?
He's not
Jesus
doing
Christ.
so hot. Like, let's send prayers and donations
Yeah,
or whatever.
true.
Like, he's like losing his vision. Like, he's really struggling. But if you go back and look at some of his stuff, it's pretty lucrative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely remember the Art Bell interview.
Right. Damn, man.
God,
They get
man,
you
like-
with the waves, Havana syndrome potentially.
Oh, Havana. I don't know. I've run out of pictures.
All good. I think I've kind
Oh,
of
can I also
found
give a
some,
credit? Let me give a credit if you go to the starred comments, because I
Oh.
didn't see this earlier, but can you give a special shout out to Travis McClung? McClung, you're a good man for gifting
sir.
We love you,
Xirtus
Travis.
membership.
Hell yeah.
And whoever got that, like, we're gonna start saying all kinds of weirder stuff in the members only. I think that's the plan. As you can tell, there's some pretty great gatekept content. It's not my
How
fault.
do you
It's
gift memberships though? Because I was getting so mad because for the longest time I was like, how do I become a member?
Let me just say, anybody who gives memberships, I'll read your comment like pretty much anytime, because like that's a great way to get other people access to members.
You're
only
initiating.
content.
This is a powerful
it.
role
Yeah,
that you're
it's a
taking
cool
on.
thing. I'm just saying thank you people for helping each other.
Yeah,
And-
might as well just
I
upload
like
the
that.
members
Because it
content
does
only
show
thing.
in StreamYard.
Yeah. Wait, about StreamYard? Wait, what?
And then when you're gifting, then you're gifting others comments
That's true.
that have to be read too, right?
Hey, might as well like take it a bit further
My
above
goodness,
members
we've got-
content. Like
Uh,
more gay cat stuff is on OnlyFans.
Yeah. But like my OnlyFans only pictures of like
Member
actual like different kinds of hand drawn fans from China.
So
like,
yes,
really
this
meticulously
guy.
done.
So there's also this guy.
The fish eater.
Wow. That's a fish or a snake coming out of his head.
I see like a fish eating a fish.
They
but I
call
could
it
be
the
wrong.
Viking beard, or
That's fascinating because they're always wearing what is
but
it? Enki?
it's
That's always
also
has like,
known
the
as like
fish-headed
the
snake.
Quetzalcoatl or like the dragon headdress. Yeah, right. Either way, it's definitely some sort of headdress with this warrior guy. And that is where I actually walked around and explored this summer on foot. And now I should be able to bring up the photos
like-
of there. Here we go. There we go.
So I know about the
Oh.
Nazca lines and all. Like, so I'm not like alien to the idea that like these megalithic structures are real and exist. And as much as I want to believe it, like if going on to like topics like these, you often get accused of like apophenia, like making like just like seeing like patterns
Pareidolia.
or images. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
as
so
much as
this-
I'm inclined to believe like this is legitimate, like it's just like there's this skeptical back of my head about like, hey, maybe this is apophenia,
Are you talking about pareidolia?
Huh? No. Apophenia means
Pareidolia,
like
yes,
dry.
is-
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh, really? There's just two words, I guess, because apophenia also is the meaning.
I'm mute. Sorry, I got muted. Truth Fairy gave 5 memberships, which is even more based.
Yeah.
Way to outdo it. No, but Travis gave 5 memberships earlier today, I think, and another membership. So I think he's just being
I want to learn how
hyper
to do it.
based.
I want to do it.
I think you have to go. Let me look it up. Let me see this.
I
think,
think
you go to
it's an
YouTube.
iPhone thing. I don't know because when
It's
I
on the
kept,
YouTube live chat.
I think I literally Googled it and it was
Could be.
like it's an Android. Like if you have an Android, it's like easy to
Oh
do.
yeah, you just gotta like. Let's see, what's the button here? Add. Show your support for Andreas. Yeah, so there's a button that looks like a money sign. Sorry, this is how it works. There's a button that looks like a money sign,
Mhm.
and you click on it. It's like super sticker, super chat, member
Yeah.
gifting, membership. Member gifting is where you gift memberships. Blah blah blah. There it is. Just the
It
bottom.
just gives me just the super stickers and the super chat. So which one of those do I click on?
It doesn't allow you to become a member.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is,
Say
like,
what?
kind of
Are you
frustrating.
like logged in like to your YouTube and all that? What's happening?
Yeah, I have a premium. I have a premium. The best money I've ever spent in my life was premium, so you don't have to hear any commercials.
You might have to do it
Right.
from your computer. I don't know. Apple's weird, dude. I
You
don't.
know what I mean? This is why I was getting so angry and mad. I get so
Oh.
mad about the membership because I kept wanting to give people memberships. And I
Linux
couldn't.
is more-
Decisive Korean
Linux is
victory.
more
Samsung for the
stable.
win.
It's freaking honestly, Linux is more stable in 2023. That's the first
Apple
time.
problem.
No, Windows too. He like Gunwoo had a problem with his.
Oh
mic.
yeah, dude. Yeah, fucking Windows
Everything
11 is
is
going down
great.
the drain.
Any corporate product is not working anymore, and Linux is the most stable.
Why haven't we
I've
created
never
like
said
a
that before.
solution of like, you
They
know?
did. It's called Linux. It's freaking nuts. I'm sorry. For 20 years ago, I was like, it'll never happen. It'll maybe 10 years from now, maybe 20 years.
Brittany
It's-
said she couldn't even figure out how to navigate when you installed Linux. Like she couldn't even.
No,
Well,
yeah.
that's
If
that's
you're gonna
not
run
Linux.
Linux,
Is it really
you need
bad?
Adderall. You
Oh.
need an Adderall prescription for Linux, or you cannot operate it otherwise.
Oh my god.
That might not help everybody.
I tried
Alright.
Linux just for the hell of it, man. Nah.
We need
Oh,
to
I got-
Not to
simplify.
mention, Andreas, I remember watching one of your
Open
videos.
source
you-
everything.
You brought up the concern that like a lot of Linux code is now being written by AI.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so you
That
brought up
bothers you?
that cautionary.
Why does that bother
point.
you though?
No, because you said it bothers you specifically because you don't know who's writing these codes. Like if they're inserting malware into like or spyware into whatever these
At
programs
this
or
point,
software.
everything's listening to us,
Right.
and watching us. Like
Hey,
we all have these
Journey.
phones, and we're like, "Oh, I'm not going to download this app." Like, really? Have you guys ever seen the CIA document that shows that there's a camera in your phone? Like, not in the front camera, in the back camera. Like,
Yeah,
in
on
your
the screen.
in your
Yes.
screen. That's
is how-
crazy.
Which is how the fingerprinting things works.
But then again, it's like live like everyone's watching you for eons.
True.
Like your thoughts, your everything is recorded here. I
But
hate
then
to
again,
be the bearer of bad news.
I want to make the elites work for it. I want to make the elites work for my biometric data. So yeah.
This is how it works, I'm sure, though, right? It's like this. You know, they're like, you got to go to New York. It's like, oh, man, I was just in New York. He, like, goes through the portal. He leaves L.A., gets a hamburger in Chicago, and then he goes to New York. I don't know. That's probably what happens.
Could you imagine? Where would you guys go? Like, if you could be like, all right, like, I got my Dero monitor here. Like, I could jump in.
You
I
get your
got my
hot dog in Chicago, and then you go to work in New York. That's the thing, because it's like you don't get to choose. It's part of the work. You know, you have to go to London on Thursday.
Thailand, Thai food in Thailand. That would be pretty amazing.
That'd be pretty good, yeah.
If this jump thing could go back in time, I would definitely try to see if I can find Hyperborea or something.
Ooh, the
I
Hyperboreans.
feel like time travel is a whole other thing that they're trying to like compensate for with other things. So like with femto technology, you know, you would just print another reality, right? So you, like figure out how things are aligned, stars and things like that, and you'd create something that the way mousetraps are going forward right now, like you would get into a thing that's just like a copy of the way this moment is starting at that moment. And they can predict, and using AI, figure out a moment pretty similar to a moment in the past based on what we know about how things are progressing forward from now.
Gotcha. Well, I guess enough about that. We're going so off topic. I'm gonna go back to Bernie's Megalith stuff on Canada. Yeah,
Dang
sorry
it.
for
He was
keeping you in the dark.
he was gonna pull up a picture and then got Stargated.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is in Giant's Playground. That could be pareidolia? Could be, I don't know, a troll, weird.
You were trying to define apophenia, right?
Yeah. I mean, it
Like
has the same meaning
pareidolia.
essentially, right? Finding connections that aren't there. But like, I mean, dude, like, I'm convinced.
Finding meaningful connections
Ah,
between unrelated things. So I think it's a little different because unrelated things are always still related through quantum entanglement. So apophenia
true.
wins by being, you know, like unrelated things are seemingly unrelated, but they theoretically are related.
Gotcha.
So
But
apophenia is more logically correct.
so like me being a huge mud fossil guy, right? So I'm very much convinced of, you know, cryptids or, you know, megalithic giants or the titans, if anything, being instantaneously buried through the flood. So like I'm very much aware that these giant prehistoric animals.
Yeah,
Sorry, what?
pareidolia is worse because it's a supplantation on top of apophenia. F Linux.
So you would say this
Yeah,
would
that's right.
probably
F
be
is
like a
for free. It is
fossilized
free.
Titan bone.
I mean, yeah, it could be. I'm definitely open to the legitimacy of these things could being like once biological material, right? Huge fan of Roger, by the way. But it's just like then again, like the discerning point is trying to find a discerning point is so hard because like this is such new territory for people, right? That like it's either like all or nothing for most.
This one's like the Swan Mountain there. This is also in Giant's Playground, Montana. Clearly the heads, neck, wings, body there.
Yeah, I love it how it's called Giants Playground.
Basement. Yeah, like literally it looks like Titans,
Yeah.
like this giant rhino mountain, like, and apparently it's all made of like blocks as well, so who knows?
Or could it be
quite
like a
fascinating.
Sphinx monument, like a Sphinx type monument that got petrified over time? That could be a possibility. If you know America
Right,
was once antiquity, right? There would have been some megalithic structures or like animalistic structures, right? Like the Sphinx. And like, you know, who's to say that like these mountains or these images that we're seeing aren't just eroded forms of these former monuments? We could like
Right,
yeah, the scope is in both fields here. It's either there once were biological, legitimately like gigantic biological animals or whatever, or they're either monuments. It's that's the thing. Like that's what I'm talking about. This discerning point is so hard, especially when it comes to stuff like this.
You should look up the visual of like zooming out and seeing like the ley line that the Montana Megaliths and Sage Wall. of what lines up beneath it. Just like how I knew with Stardust Ranch, it was on a similar ley line as Skinwalker, of just even zooming out. But look how prolific.
Xirtus, are you able to pull up work in Google Earth
Which
by
one you wanna
chance?
pull up?
I'm pretty sure we crashed mine.
Okay. hold on.
Of
Where do I go?
We'll finish off with this one. Like the definite
Google Maps
Dahlem
or
in
Google Earth?
Montana
Google
and the Rockies.
What's the name of the rocks?
Julia?
What's the city again? The name?
The Montana Megaliths?
Yeah, Montana.
Yeah.
Where are the
Giants
rocks?
Playground, I guess.
Yeah, but the name of the
Or
national park.
was it?
Oh,
Sage
wow.
Wall, right? The Sage.
There's
was the
dolmens in
Sage Wall
America.
there?
Holy shit!
Well,
It's
I'm not
I've
sure
always
this
found it.
fits.
I've always found it interesting, seeing dolmens in other countries, right? Because for some reason, like unknown to most, Korea has the largest concentration of dolmens for no known reason. It's even this is like marked by UNESCO, even like it's recognized by them. They're like they just have the largest concentration of like Stonehenge like structures, and no one knows why. And like I was looking into this, and I was digging into the possibility it's linked to the slab grave culture like in Manchuria, because Koreans do come from Manchuria. But yeah, like that's the dolmens is such a weird phenomenon that like I feel like just tracing all of them could lead you somewhere.
I agree.
Did you ever see the thing of Julie Ryder with the orb? Did you see that, Bernie? Of like the orb in 2003, like the pictures of the things that they've documented.
No.
Like she's clearly was selected
I've heard her
spiritually to
speak
be the
of that
bearer of
incident.
this news.
Crazy.
So I
I'm gonna
had
have
told
to
so
see
I
that
had
one.
told I had told Julie about Samus Monagich. Like I was like, "Hey Julie, Samus Monagich is coming to the States and there's this time," and I felt really called to contact her and tell her that. But you know when you get like an overwhelming feeling to do something, you're like guided. I don't know, it was like normally I wouldn't. I was more aggressive with it, like aggressively guided to do that.
I feel you.
And it turned out that they had done a ceremony trying to get Samus Monagich to come there. I forget how the amount of time before that, but they were literally like they did this like native ceremony to try and get us Monagich. So when I contacted her, I was like, "Hey, yeah, Samus Monagich is coming to the States." I thought it like I didn't understand what weight that came with, like sometimes we're guided to do things and we don't necessarily understand it. It's like I'm almost like
Yeah, my entire
I love how
life.
you're constantly entrapped into magic. You're like, oh, you got me again.
But also,
they actually summoned you with a ritual. Oh,
right? Yeah, like it was a big deal to her. Like they're like I wish I knew that when I told her that, right? But when in June when I talked to what's his name, Graham Hancock, and he had said he wanted to make it to the Sage Wall, and that he couldn't discuss it further. He's like, I want to go there in August, and this was in June, but he's like, I can't talk about it because of NDA. So of course I'm like. So I contact Julie. Like the only times I contact Julie is like, "Hey, Samus Monagich, he's coming to the States." And then it was like, "Hey, Graham Hancock wants to come see Sage Wall." I think Julie's like, "Who the f is Julia? Who is this chick?" Because she's like, I got one eyebrow raised at this girl, but and I was like, yeah, and so she wanted more info. I'm like, he can't. I don't know. But I think a part of her was probably maybe protective, and I talked to Sam about it and Sam was like, I don't think Julie wants him there. But who knows? Like, you discover things and you want the public, like she wants everyone to learn and absorb this and know about it. But, I think people get territorial of like, wait, you're just going to move in and like not mention me, and then how that works and what's ego, what's not ego. And and then I tap out. But yeah, so so possibly I
Right,
don't know
yeah.
if he made it, and you know, I'm assuming it was a documentary or a film, you know, but I don't know if he ended up making it and what ended up happening. That's all I know.
Ooh, Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Montana Megaliths.
Comes out on Netflix, and we'll see. Yeah, so this is literally the best evidence I've ever seen of mud fossil flash fossilized, and what she's showing here and claiming is this is literally a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex flash fossilized on top of a mountain ridge here, and it is my goal to I gotta start a GoFundMe to get my art there. And see, but that really does look like a eroding giant Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Ah,
on top
yeah, I
of
see it, the mouth and
mountain.
everything now.
Wow.
I want so like yeah, these people should go in there
Yeah,
with
it
lidar
wasn't
next
doing it
time to see if there's
justice, this shit.
bones.
She
Like,
has
if you
like
just-
things that she says is like Osiris,
exactly.
you know, of the Osiris things, and I showed her my meme that I made that of showing the Aplamato
So you
bird
have mouth,
that
neck,
Osiris
like
is
little
depicted
arms.
on. That is native to America, and she was like, she showed me a statue, like a picture of the statue of rock formation as the Aplamato bird or Osiris in the Megaliths, and was like, you can add that onto your Egypt in America meme, you know, which I didn't. I need to maybe.
But yeah, like I wish mud fossil people would show up to these places with like lidar
Right?
scans to see if they can actually find like bones and stuff to add more like legitimacy to the fact that this is a T-Rex. Because like other if without the lidar scan,
Oh, I'm
Here's the thing,
definitely going
Like,
to
is it also anachronistic
get
for saying this?
samples
right?
thing, 'cause-
We're saying that
right? Like, because it looks
this
like
is what
it's
we
got
think. This is what we think a
organs,
T-Rex. Yeah, this is what we
spine,
think a T-Rex looks like from a Spielberg movie. But like T-Rexes didn't really look like this, right?
Creepy.
Like T-Rexes were really like
right?
birds,
But
you know, as far as we know
only
now.
going
Like,
to
had
exploring
feathers.
it, though.
But usually feathers and like are like the first things to like erode away when they only leave
Yeah,
imprints,
but like
right? So,
again, like it's not the kind of animal that we've been told it was. It's not this giant beast. The guy who found the T-Rex only found some of the small bones, and then from there he decided to make this giant. He's like, "Dude, I found these bones." I'm like, "So?" It's like, "No, they must be great. They must be great. How great are they? They must be the king of dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus monster, the Rex, the king." You know, and so then from there they get this horribly confused idea, like. They start saying that it's this thing that's killing everything, even though it has these tiny little hands. We now know it probably only ate dead things off the ground as a forager, you know, and if it were to try to stand up, it would break its back. Like, there's no way actually for the skeleton that they build to stand upright, and they try to always force it to stand upright. It just doesn't make any sense. So you have to build all
And
this,
if you
like,
stand still, it can't see you.
I mean, the thing is, like, dinosaurs are birds, they're theropod birds. And so there are a lot of, I mean, the idea of fossilized birds, we find fossilized birds, but usually we don't find, I mean, it's possible for instant vitrification, but at that point, usually from instant vitrification, we're not finding like mounds that look like a giant bird, or like a bird's been like swallowed up by mud or something like that. For the most part, you're seeing like skeletons of them, not
From
so
what I
much like
understand, the world
leather.
used to be like silica based, which is why everything was larger. Like you see all these like where it looks like enormous petrified mushrooms. Like from what I understand, it was a silica based land, and now it like something caused it to swap over to carbon based.
All the quartz veins stuff.
my assumption is that everything that was underneath the oceans or underneath the earth got opened up when all the water reservoirs blew up during the whole Noah's flood event.
Seems to be like there's multiple floods too, and that's what's so significant is the fact that star forts and pyramids
Mhm.
both do what? They seem to guard a significant amount of water. So if there's a faction of people that overtakes that and learns the dynamics of that and could therefore influence how much water is released from those places, then you can implement your own flood of your type. Perhaps there was a
Right.
flood that implemented a large flood that was like creator God wiping out Sodom and Gomorrah and whatever, possibly, right? I like to theosophize, but if there's a faction of people that figured out a tech that guards all this water, and then you're able to implement, it was like, wait, why was there mud floods? Was there a significant, huge creator flood? But there was also like these other places that was like implemented of mud floods of like this here, but never all at once, of like implementing that. It's important to pay attention to.
I like the idea that there was a point when water and air were more similar to each other and that they sort of split more as a concept. Like some water and air were, it would also make sense why whales and
the vapor canopy theory?
Yeah, vapor canopy theory is something I heard actually a long time ago from some like video cassette tape.
Well,
that was about,
essentially that would be interplasma, plasma state.
Yeah, I mean,
What is
they would
plasma?
explain a
The
lot
fourth
about
dimension.
the
Third
ozone,
dimension.
why there's ozone in certain places and why there's not. It was also would be explainable by plasma. So
yeah, I mean, we already know. We pretty much subscribe to the same idea of thought that like this entire world is made up of plasma. The whole Thunderbird project idea stuff. I mean, so yeah, it all corroborates.
I got a couple pictures here while you were gone. Hold on. Check this guy out. Look at that. How did this even come out so good?
Well,
really?
and also the different ages of the sun, right? Like if there was a red sun, a blue sun, like as they say, and like now are we in a new age and are we turning into a white pulsar? Apparently, the
I've heard about that. Like people have noticed.
These are actual. I'm gonna tell my kids these are actual dinosaurs. That's what I'm gonna do.
But yeah, Bernie.
Well, what's interesting about the Chinese zodiac? All the animals on the Chinese zodiac is real. All of a sudden it's like, except for the dragon, and then you see all these depictions of dragons. Like,
well, it's weird. Like, why are they stopped? What is it going to take for them to be? Because, like, why are they going to take it? This is the dinosaur. This is as close as to. Where did I show that picture earlier? This is what your mama should be teaching you. Like this is a T-Rex, kinda. And at some point, we're going to get more real because it's more intense than this. It's more bird-like. The bird-like thing is actually freakier. The dragon thing is the more freaky thing. They keep trying to cover its face and say it's not. Dude, it is what it is. It's a freaking monster bird. But big birds got teeth, and that's messed up, right? Because eventually, what happens is
that's a scary bird.
Birds lose their teeth and they get razor sharp jaws, which become their beaks, which protrude from their face as they lose the skin at that point. It's freaking messed up what birds are. But they did have teeth, right? And that's kind of interesting. So
there are some birds today.
Wait, hold on. I heard reptilians literally like techno music, and I just imagine them with like their little hands, like
yeah, I believe
dancing
that.
techno.
It's snakes and
yeah.
turtles.
I was just gonna mention, there are birds
or congregate to like the base systems at like music festivals and stuff, depending on if it's good or bad. I guess
Just saying, birds are way worse than anything you've ever been afraid of. I think.
Oh yeah, like emus, ostriches. Yeah,
and that's why, like, when PETA made this thing the other day, where they're all like, "Do you see PETA's thing, man?"
Wait, did you like? That's like Brittany bringing up like birds are real. Like there's people that don't even know about the conspiracy that birds aren't real, and they say that they charge.
This is what birds would do to you if they could. Birds would do this if they could.
Andreas, explain to them though the whole conspiracy of like that birds are fake.
Well, this was kind of funny.
I tell my real story of wild turkeys. Like, have y'all ever encountered a flock of wild turkeys? Like, especially as a child, it's like they're your size.
I got scared by geese, but yeah, did you get scared by turkeys? That's worse.
No, I got chased. Like, so I was on my great grandma's ranch, and there was like me and the dog Kelly, and there was like probably 200 to 300 of these wild turkeys like in the field, and like I'm like, yeah, let's go get them. Like chasing them with the dog. I was like probably 6 or 7 years old, and like all like cocky and stuff, and then like the dog parts off to like one part of like the flock, and all of a sudden the turkeys stop. And then they like look at me, and then they start charging me, and then all of a sudden it's like there's little birdie running across the field getting chased by a flock of freaking wild crazy turkeys.
And that's
Tell
the
them about
worst.
Yeah, they ain't nothing to mess with. Like they're big and
Oh, man.
terrifying.
One time this
little
lady
Gotta
in
start swinging,
Bolivia,
man, bro.
this lady in
Like-
Peru, lady in Peru was gonna like kill a turkey, you know, and she'd come to visit her, and she's got like a bite in her hand from when she was in the boat with a howler monkey, and the monkey bit her hand. And so already I know like she lets animals go too far. But she's this giant freaking turkey, and it's like I'm at this point. Oh, it's almost my height. It's a little shorter than me, but the feathers go up so big too. You know what I mean? And
Right,
I'm
like
just-
they do like a mini peacock with their feathers, right?
yeah, and like I'm an adult at this point now. I've dealt with ducks that bit me as a child, and I like ate like a lot of duck. You know, after that, I was like, "This is what you do to your enemy." But with the turkeys, man, I was just like, "When are you gonna kill this thing?" Because she's like saying she's gonna kill it later. Like, can I help? Like, are we doing it soon? 'Cause, like, I didn't want to wait anymore. Oh, sorry, if I skipped the part where like it's chasing me around, and she leaves me in a room with or like this open patio area with the thing, and it's just like it's freaking Jurassic Park, dude. It's freaking horrifying. Like it just like looks at you, it thinks about you, and it's just like I could kill you. You know what I mean?
No,
like
you
it's
slap
literally
box it. You gotta assert dominance.
Right
Go.
now,
yeah, I
imagine,
know I
like,
do.
200 to
That's why I was like, I'll
300
just
of
kill
them.
it. I'll just kill it is the thing right away because it's freaking turkey. I
You
mean,
start thinking about necks, like just straight
Oh, yeah.
strangulation.
no, strength pop. God, sorry.
Thanksgiving pop.
But yeah, because it's all
Just-
right. 'Cause
just
birds aren't
easy.
real. It's okay because birds aren't real. That's the point.
Oh,
Birds are
so if birds aren't real, then what is?
Oh yeah,
that?
no, but a lot of people don't
Thanksgiving- The
don't
guy
know
who
about
made
the
a
whole
movie-
theory about
Well,
birds not being real
I
and
mean, no, but
charging.
there's a
I mean,
dude
but
who
it's
created
satirical. So like, is there a
there's
point?
a dude,
Yes,
who-
you
there's a
gotta
dude who
cover
created
this.
it. There's a dude who created like a satirical movement, and he actually like paid for billboards. It's like, I wonder if I can get this going. And he got like a bus, and he drove around America. And he just out of college. He's like, I wonder if I could just say birds are not real. And it's basically a meme play. Now, like there are birds that aren't real, of course. Like the government makes animals that are fake. There's fake dolphins.
No, but
you
they're
know?
literally saying they're charging, like they're acting like they're like what, like battery operated,
There
and
are-
they're
there are
landing
drones.
on the wires,
There are drones.
and they're
that can-
charging.
Not all of them, though. See, the thing is, there are drones that can charge
That would
themselves.
be a good disguise, like
that's
military wise.
silly.
That is
That's
brilliant. Of
not-
like, oh, I'm gonna send a drone that looks like a bird and it's gonna charge right
Yeah,
above their
but
house.
I think that like says a lot 'cause it's like kind of like in Jumanji, where the kids open the box in the 50s and they're like, wow, it's got like must be run by magnets, and then like in the 90s, like, wow, it must be run by microchips. You know, like people will come up with a way for the magic to make sense to them, and the thing will adapt to explain itself, but it's freaking magic. So it doesn't really matter what the material form is. What hat is that?
Birds, the official birds aren't
Birds
real
aren't real.
hat.
There you go.
The
dude.
limited
it says
edition.
birds aren't
Yeah,
on your
Yeah.
hat.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
and it's a rainbow
Birds
because it's
aren't
birds aren't real
real.
pride.
Unwoo.
God
Oh
woo
my
to the
God.
max.
This was the limited edition first run of their merch line that I bought when I first, debuted.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of people don't know about it. Now they do. Now they do.
Like, but has he admitted that it is parody? Like, because the
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah.
You go on Wikipedia. You go to Wikipedia. Go to he's done interviews about it. There's a guy who did interviews about it. Obviously, like that doesn't mean there aren't like, but just the idea that all birds were not real. Have you ever like been like? Have you?
Yeah, he's
ever
like
dealt
claiming
with
like the
birds, like-
deep thing.
That
and the
makes my
ozone
owl
and the
watcher
Ever
everything
seen a
thing,
else.
pigeon
like,
on the side of the
make-
road? Like a pigeon on the side of the road should tell you that birds are real if you just like kick it. I think at that point.
Tesla loves
It's like-
pigeons.
There's this rotting corpse carcass.
And it
that,
depends like what
your
you mean by
cat
like
brings
how
in. Like, are
unreal.
you
How unreal are you
there's-
going? Are you saying that birds are like genetically designed? Like, okay, maybe. Like, I'm not like I'm open. I'm pretty open minded. I'm just like they're obviously not just like made out of metal inside of all birds because I've been to the beach and seen seagulls. I've seen dead dolphins. I've seen like, you know, like if you've ever been in science class, they make you do like this dissection of animals. Like you should know that there are real animals. I guess it's a weird thing to think there's no living thing, but you know, there's also like way more interesting living animals than we talk about. Like the fact that most birds we don't understand, even like because everyone's like, oh, the narrative is such a lie, but there's parts of it that are true, right? There are times in history where there's environmental shifts. A lot of people, things don't make it. Eggs do. these birds are brought there. So like that's one of the reasons why they're saying that so many dinosaurs or theropod reptiles, right, which are birds, why so many birds survived. It's because like they put their egg, they flew them and put their eggs places, or however. But like for the most,
cold-blooded, potentially,
a lot of birds are, but not all reptiles are cold-blooded. Yeah, it's back and forth. So there's a bunch of birds that are there are a bunch of birds that are warm-blooded. There are some reptiles that are beyond birds that are warm-blooded. Like there's a bunch of different kinds of reptiles.
True.
They can do anything. There's some reptiles that birth what's the term where you birth like most reptiles have eggs, but they actually birth like
they give live birth. Yeah, the
Parthenogenesis.
Solomon Island giant sphinx is one, and I've owned them before.
There are parthenogenic reptiles, and of course, many actually are birds too. And so that's interesting because most people think birds are only reptiles are only having eggs.
You know, every species of animals, like a species, like a certain kind, the amount of animals that are able to reproduce parthenogenically, yet humans are the only exception, is like such a weird double thing to me in the science community, right? There has been very close calls with finding like proof of a parthenogenic reproduced child, human. But like the only case we got is like.
I think you need to start experimenting with homunculus. Okay, there's a certain what we do in the shadows episode. They don't call them homunculus, but for science sake, you can do it, brother.
Gotcha.
Do you guys watch? Have you ever seen What You Do in the Shadows?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a great.
Was it like the vampire thing?
Really? Oh man!
Put on the
vampire
check out my
comedy.
dinosaurs.
Yeah. I've watched the vampire comedy on.
Check out my dinosaurs.
It's on FX or AE. I forgot.
Share my screen. Look at this. This is what dinosaurs. Look at this. This is so much better. Come on.
That's dragon stock.
It's a compromise. I think what we're gonna get to is like they're gonna realize, okay, and even their faces had beards. Like they wore beards.
There
was no dinosaurs. It was like dragons, like different.
That's what we're
versions.
doing. No, but like, see, because that's the thing. What's a dragon? A dragon's a more legitimate form of dinosaur. Like a dinosaur is what literally. Okay, let's do it right now. Check this out. Let's do it.
Yeah, what if they created dinosaur to like hide the dragon?
Watch this. The word dinosaur right here. Dinosaur.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. Dinosaur. Dinosaurs can therefore be divided into avian dinosaurs, birds. Okay, now watch this. Okay, bird, wiki. Bird is a dinosaur.
Cyrus, like some of these Egyptian beings, like their faces look like a bird reptile.
Birds are feathered theropod dinosaurs.
And round.
Oh my god! Birds are feathered theropod dinosaurs. And so you can find this in general. Like this is the thing. Birds are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs never went extinct. Dinosaurs have existed while humans have been around the entire time. There's no question. When you think about what birds can do, it's freaking fascinating but scary. Like think about a parrot, right? A parrot can literally sound like a human. It can, if you had a giant parrot and it knew what your mother sounded like.
They exceed your lifetime. Like if you get an African gray, you got to put it in your will because it's going to outlive you.
So imagine this thing knows what people sound like. It goes in the woods, and you're running through the woods, and all of a sudden it starts saying like, "Mom, help, help!"
Isn't that what a skinwalker is essentially?
Okay, all right. I'm trying to get you contemplate how much scarier this is than your dinosaur. Your dinosaur is a dragon. It's a freaking bird that can talk. It's freaking terrifying. I mean, Julia's scared.
Right, but is this essentially like what you just described what a skinwalker is?
Yes, if a skinwalker is a bird, then because they do have tall giant birds. This is the thing, like when we're talking about how long recently is this, there's freaking giant birds very recently, right? Like so in the Andes, you had giant birds. Like everyone has these stories of giant birds kidnapping children, flying down and picking.
Honest to God, Xirtus, I need you right now to look up Drumheller Royal Trail Museum in Drumheller. And it's world famous for dinosaur bones, but actually, also have to do a full episode on this place because I've been there many times.
Look at that. That's a freaking scary bird. That's all right. That's like This, it's so much worse than your average bird, dude.
Yeah, the three
Right.
claws and like the rear claw too, like every bird has.
Yeah. So then, like, think about, okay, so what are these, like, giant land bird Andes? I can't remember the name of it. The Andean condor. Well, of course, you get the condor. There's like the like running non-avian, like, yeah. So like these kinds of things, like the emus and the ostrich, are examples that still, like the moa, right? The moa is like a giant. This was like 15 feet tall. So when we see examples of this, sort of like we know about this, but like a lot of these things, like they ate them, right? You're not finding a lot of bones for things that have been consumed, and these things ate humans back, right? So with the moa, what they did is interesting, is they couldn't really
Like,
kill
look
the
at the
moa.
size of that.
Yeah, here's a dude, here's a freaking moa, right? It's literally Big Bird, and so they couldn't kill them all, actually, but what they figured out to do is to eat their eggs, because they didn't reproduce fast enough to populate on their island. So that's how they eventually wiped them out.
Wow, so many like extinct cool animal species just because of threatening human life.
Cool. I mean, look at this freaking thing. I mean, look at these things. Like, birds have razor sharp jaws. Did you not hear me? Like, this is a freaking jaw that's like come out of its
Yeah,
face.
they sharpen it on rocks. I
This
know.
is a starve-crazed reptile that's lost its teeth and evolved into an insane killing machine. There's nothing worse than an insane killer. I'm telling you, this is like the Joker version of dinosaurs. Like, it's
Combining, you guys, if
crazy.
you were a crazy eugenicist and you combined like reptiles,
That's what I'm saying.
and birds,
Homunculus.
like, hello,
Birds are that's the thing. Birds are
Why do
reptiles.
you think the
Birds are a
Egyptians
kind
have
of
these
reptile.
half human, half bird, homunculus running around? Or
So-
they're demigods, one or the other?
So that's the reason
also
why
though
they
too,
want
I
to
wonder what kind of like avatar body, like say you graduate and you could be like, hey man, you've earned it, like what face do you want, like what do you want is your head, like what would you choose?
Definitely not
What
that.
would you choose?
Well, maybe
You're like, I want a dragon tongue,
yeah.
I want like
This guy. I
I
would be
want
like, this guy looks cool. Wouldn't you be like this guy? He's cool. Oh, sweet. I'd do that.
Griffith? Or Griffith?
you
Oh,
want like a
freaking look at its legs.
giraffe
Nah,
neck.
I believe the human is the apex creation because it was made in the image of God. So I'm staying the way I am.
Yeah, I think that's
No, but
right.
they say angels. They say
They're all
angels
made in the image
have
of God.
like different forms.
Right,
Like,
but in the
you're-
Bible it also says angels are jealous of us because we've been
Mhm.
made in the image of God. So
yeah,
Oh
let's
wait,
all
angels
go
are
off
not.
the Bible.
Angels are not
Come on,
made.
Gunwu.
Wait, are angels not made in the image of God? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I
in the
think
case like
they're
seraphim and
directly
others.
made.
Wait. Angels are not made in the image of God. What is that? Is it
Yes.
real? Is that a thing?
Yeah, they are.
Question: when an angel is made in the image of God is not specifically answered in the Bible. Different interpretation. Some theologians argue that thoughtful are not made in the image of God. I don't know, bro. I think it means something else. I don't think I just don't read it like that.
Okay. You
Mm.
decipher it. Like, ask Chief. Ask Andreas.
Okay.
What do you mean by
So-
like not in the image of God?
Yeah. Okay. So first off, South Park God. Let's start with that. So the idea that God is like we're in the image of God is not what that means. I think because it probably means more like, it's because that's like saying God is in the image of man. You're saying, okay, well, because I look like this, then God looks like me. You are anthropomorphizing God at that point.
Mm.
So it's that picture. What's that picture? Like the Michelangelo God, Adam. So if you were to look at this picture for a second, what I see in this picture is a different story. It's not God making Adam. It's really like man creating God, because he's not like creating God. He's not creating God for real. What
But
he's
the
doing,
idea,
his idea of God is based on his own idea, right? So he's like
Mm.
dreaming in his mind, because like if you look at the
silver
picture
hair,
earlier,
silver beard.
Of what?
he's got this
Typical.
idea of what God
A
is,
reflection of a
right?
manly god.
Yeah, and so like of course he's thinking of God in his own image, like he's thinking of God like a man. That doesn't mean that it's not the other way around still, but it's different than, because now what we're saying is if we're thinking about it like God, man is in the image of God, what is God? And then therefore what is man? So then
yeah,
man,
this is very meta.
yeah, Vitruvian if you think what is man, all of a sudden man's like way more interesting because man all of a sudden is like humanity, and it's like so first you're your mother and your father and your grandchildren and your like ancestors and your
So
like
if
generational offspring.
angels have wings and feathers, would they not be these reptilian dinosaur dragons that you were just showing potentially?
Maybe.
So a real reminder that seraphim are way freakier than anything I showed you because they have to hide their faces from you because there's like they're all made of eyeballs underneath that 6th set of wings that they got going on there, right? Like seraphim are freaking terrifying, which is based. Dude, oh wait, was that it? Look at that. Let's look at this. That looks creepy.
That's why it's just an aura you see,
Boo.
right?
Peekaboo, I'm a
They said it
freaking
can
seraphim.
enter any human being, so you better watch out who you talk to or who you're,
Yeah.
combating with.
Yeah.
It could
If
be-
it
On
looks
the
like
topic of
something-
this dragon question, though, like what's always weird, like odd to me, is the interpretation between East and the West. Right, you have dragons in the East, where these long serpent creatures with legs, not really feathers, but like beards and stuff.
Plasma almost like the
Hey,
cloud one.
wait, really quick. Can I ask all of you, including all of the viewers? My sister went to the Vatican again because we all went there as kids. But she took a picture of this, and it's a wall right before you walk into the
Solo
Sistine
that. I
Chapel.
can't see it. Solo that, would you, Bernie? Solo her screen.
Yeah, Bernie, can you bring that up? It's
Oh, I
right
think you went.
before right before you walk into the Sistine Chapel. It shows you this right before you walk in.
Look
I don't
at
recognize
that
this language.
Okay, so I want to have some of the people that work on the
Oh, yeah.
tablet I work on code it, like see what they think about that. But I was like, I don't even know where to find info on
What
this.
language is this?
Okay, and what does it say above it? It says
Amazing.
Usually, I can identify like languages
Amarium. Hold on. I took a picture of it.
autodidactically, but my God, I've never seen that.
Okay, it says this above it. Amarium, and then it says that. But if anyone knows what the name of this wall is, before you walk into the Sistine Chapel, let me know. Message me.
It's the rum
Please.
room, the Army War rum room. Just kidding.
Army rum. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
looks
and
like
it says
Ruby
this
Creek.
at the
I don't know.
bottom. Really quick, it says this at the bottom.
So that
That's
leg,
Ness. I don't know.
Nesru
Yeah.
Consecra
That's
Taste.
Yeah.
How we say
yes.
Here's the dragon from Korea, which kind of reminds me of your Dynamite dinosaur. Look at that, and it's a dragon with neck and everything. Because like I don't know if we still have the I saw that fossil picture. Where'd my fossil go? I lost it in the Vitruvian man, which reminds me, by the way, of the Arabesque of Allah. Okay, so because that's God. This is where that's a cherubim, and this is God, and that's a man, and this is God. Okay, so what was it? It was a fossil dinosaur. A lot,
most
yeah,
generic keyword I've ever seen.
yeah, right. Well, like because like they're whatever, but like some of these things, because dinosaur, bird, reptile.
I wish there was someone like Texas Bread that was like here recording all of Andreas's. Like,
We're gonna do
everything he
that.
utters.
We just before this said that we're gonna start doing the Discord thing. When we talked, I
Okay,
talked to
good.
Discord earlier this week about this idea of doing the radio show very soon. It's gonna be like weekly, maybe Saturdays. We'll see how that works. Could be Fridays. Reptile, bird, AVs, bird. So like I think that's cool because for a long time it's like, nah, can't be, but they are, right? Like birds are and turtles aren't, right? It's amphibian. Is that right? Turtle, reptile. Forget.
Turtles are reptiles.
Yeah. What's one of the
Turtles are
frogs?
reptilian.
I'm thinking frogs. My bad.
Frogs,
Maybe
salamanders,
and
and
But
newts
birds.
are all-
Birds are definitely reptiles.
But like, where were you going with this? Within the dragon and the bird connection?
That they are. So this looks like a bird and a reptile, and maybe these are like prehistoric to an
or
extent.
possibly
Prehistoric
Like,
Ogopogo.
add some
just means, like,
feathers to a
before the-
reptile.
Right? Like,
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and here's the deal
like
with
I
that.
say,
Also.
Ogopogo or
In
Nessie,
folklore,
right? Like the Loch Ness
these things
Monster.
can fly, but they have no wings. They're never mentioned to have
Mm.
wings.
So what
right?
happens is shedding. There's a certain genetic mutation that happened.
Like, what if that's why they're so like the way they are? because they used to be able to fly and now they can't. So they're
Ah.
angry about it.
It's also vice versa. So a lot of I don't know. This could be all a lie because it's Smithsonian talk, but their version of reality is that you got things that had a genetic mutation, likely because of starvation, radiation, all kinds of mutation from different food diet changes, etc., epigenetic changes. But they started mutating, and also these things had to run fast, and so because that's the big thing about birds is a lot of them are like bipedal when they run. And so they would forage, but eventually they would learn they learned that it was beneficial to them not to shed as much, to keep their skin like kind of wearing their scaled skin. And yeah, when this mutation happened that was adapted, it started the shedding to split off, right? So the splitting process is like, let's see if I can find that picture there. You can find different examples of shedding that eventually becomes feather-like, and as it adapts, right, you get to a point where, and they have a lot of these animals, like they have a lot of examples of animals that are not missing actually. So like they have examples of things that have halfway developed feathers, and then eventually avians develop, like they take the entire scale, and the scale, as it splits, as it starts to emit out, because this is like the scale splitting, so the skin that's dead is releasing, it ends up folding back and making like perfect wings, which again, like, it's amazing and probably is more to it than just like Darwinian evolution. But the point is, like, genetically, at least, we can follow that with a genome compiler. We can see like DNA.
Where did the bat come? Because it's a rat. It's a mammal with wings.
I wouldn't
too.
say it's a
and
rat.
Then it's also got the sonar, or like the.
I wouldn't say it's a rat.
Flying raccoon, if anything.
What are you, Catwoman?
Yeah, flying raccoon, cat. Yeah, like just.
A rat. So what we got?
And like how they see with their chirping and stuff, like just
into scrotifera. Yeah, it's closer related to like felines and like those guys. Look at this. These guys are all pretty
close to
they're
a
all related.
rhinoceros, a armadillo,
Okay.
or a tiger.
Yeah, I mean, I know that sounds weird. Okay, so this is the funny thing. Like I almost said the word pachyderm and I didn't. And the reason why is because of this. And this is like, people thought, oh, well, these things look alike, so they must be related. No, just because things look alike isn't how that works. Like, a rhinoceros is not related necessarily to an elephant. Like, it's not just because of pachyderm just means thick skin. So they had to do away with the entire genus, quote unquote. Like, they don't.
Right, but are these the results of like a massive like madman that's just like, oh, I'm gonna take this, and like ancient cloning,
I mean,
right. I've always heard like theories about like
homunculus, right?
I think it's
that like Ottoman animal experimentation, like the alchemists in the Ottoman Empire. Like it's been recorded somewhere. I've read specifically this book. I forgot the title, but like they describe how they created houseflies. They like invented houseflies by through this alchemical process. Like and then it came out of
the worst process ever. Why would you? Houseflies are terrible. That's a horrible thing to do.
Wait,
I think all right.
Johannes Philoponus, an Alexandrian philosopher of the 6th century, commented on Aristotle's writings and said, if someone cuts a twig from a walnut tree in Athens and plants it in Patras, 200 kilometers away, 2 or 3 years later, it will bear nuts that are the same in every aspect, in size and taste and color and every other character with the ones from the walnut tree in Athens. So if the resemblances between the plants do not originate because the seed comes from the entire body, as it was proved, but for some other reason, which reason he reveals later, the same applies to animals as well. So Philoponus used the word klados for twig, which is synonymous with klonos. He was trying to find a reason for the resemblance between parents and children, and although he made many mistakes, he did correctly imagine the existence of some minimal part of the animal's body that contained all the information for the creation of the animal. But he's talking about, like, they're talking about cloning and stuff and in nature and taking that, and when you remove that and amplify that. So I thought that was interesting.
A lot of the idea was like to consume your enemy or consume these animals, and I think it's also probably true to some extent that these animals consumed each other, and on rudimentary levels were able to assimilate in the process of consumption, especially if they're more primordial, able to actually like take on that DNA that they consumed in them and like learn how to continue replicating that or keep that as part of them.
Yeah, that doesn't seem that far off because we see this like happening with like organ transplants with for
Right.
people. Yeah,
Or with pigs. We could have a
Yeah.
successful organ transplant with a pig.
Yeah, I
No,
have
And
a
pigs
friend who
being
has
part
a
human.
pig
End up
part
you can.
valve in
Unless
his heart.
if you take
But I was
care of
more
your
so-
organs, you're better off. But
I was more so referring to the idea that like people would adopt the personality of the previous organ owner. Just
Mm,
because I've
cut off
heard
It's a bit of a
a murderer's hand and so on.
yeah.
I like the thing with the genome compiler thing because like what we're finding is you can find all of the genome, and so it's different than it used to be. Where like we're just looking for bones and trying to find things. Now you're able to find the genetic sequences, and you're like, oh well, this is related to this. Kind of similarly, the way we're saying like humans are related to each other, and more than that, like we're like, well, this gene is in this, and that gene is in that, and we have to figure out. Is it possible that this gene just figured out how to be? Maybe it's very useful and practical. Maybe it's really simple, and so a bunch of different animals just came up with it on their own. And that's an interesting idea, right? Because you look at like a squid eye, and a squid's not related to us, but it has an eye that's a lot like ours. Ours is not as good, but our eye is similar to a squid eye. So is it possible
Squids
that
have
we?
better eyes.
Oh yeah,
And camouflage and like everything. Like they're biologically blessed exponentially more than we could ever comprehend. Essentially,
but there's a big idea like the water ape and everything like this. You know, is there a possibility that we adapted in some ways actually just like from consuming epigenetics from other species? And I think that that's not as unlikely as people think. Like it's something that is possible.
Hmm.
But also, I mean, not that we're like talking about this, necessarily like at that
Yeah,
level.
for the longest of times, a lot of these isolated tribes, human civilizations, held the belief that like eating your own ancestors will let you inherit their knowledge, etc., etc. Right? So there's these cannibalistic traditions that have existed with ancient humans for the longest of times. So I was wondering if there's a correlation between that.
I think so, wouldn't you? The other
Yeah.
thing I guess also is with the human genome, you can use it for adenovirals, and so a lot of the future is using this technology to map sequences and say, "Oh, I like that. I like that sequence. I like how that works in a toucan. I would love to do that." And I think that'll be interesting if people start to grow feathers.
Well, I
Just
think
because
that's what we're doing here now is like we inherit certain qualities and tendencies, and it's kind of our duty. Like this resides within us, and it's kind of our duty to heal certain things that like we've inherited this toxic trait where it's like, oh, alcoholism, it runs in my family. Like let me do different, or being abusive, or going for men that are not good for me and treat me and talk to me terribly or whatever it is. Like we inherit these things that we do different. Like we can change it and evolve and adapt and choose, really.
word.
just always love looking at what they claim megafauna. Like, oh, look, giant everything, giant rodents, giant freaking beavers, giant elephants as
Yeah, it is
mastodons and
interesting.
mammoths,
Everything's
giant
miniaturized.
sloths, giant armadillos. So, like literally, even what look like giant rats right here, the size of humans. And then, well, there was definitely gotta also have been giant humans. Like, what? How else? Like, if everything, literally everything.
I heard it was
giant
because it was silica
days.
based.
Why
A
wouldn't
silica based
There's-
world.
also?
Yeah, there's two. It's one of the like silica based world is one of the things that contribute to that.
Rhinos?
But like there was an experimentation done.
Everything was larger. Everything.
Yeah, there was an experimentation done on proving the legitimacy of the vapor canopy, where like I forgot what his name was, for a scientist under like a very long trial period would get insects and then just would simulate a vapor canopy environment and pump them more with oxygen. Over time, they grew twice the size.
Mm.
Yeah. All you need is extra oxygen and any living being could grow like twice its size. It's just
Way
extra
more
oxygen.
And they cut all the big trees down. Like, what's
So
to say
look-
it was
look
just
at
like,
this.
hey, there was no other different environment. The different environment was there's these enormous trees that were everywhere, and they cut them down, and that's what changed everything.
Yeah, I feel like humanity
They're
was just
literally
tired.
showing a 10-foot human right here behind the elk. Like, look at how giant this elk is. And they're making the shadow, the humans were also that big, but we're not actually going to let you know. There was giants in those.
Yeah, not to mention the typical David and Goliath story. Not to mention like the Scythians or like the modern Kazakhstanis. Modern Kazakhstanis today are like at least 7 to 8 feet tall, and yeah, the ones that live in the rural steppes.
There was a war between big birds and big men. I'll tell you what. Sesame Street doesn't want you to know.
What the Australian Emu War?
Dude. Snuffleupagus was there.
Truth in fiction. That's what Dinotopia tells. The story of Dinotopia.
That's what they're hiding.
It's all there.
Smithsonian's behind all of it.
It's all there.
That's
But-
what they found.
Going back to the whole cutting down the giant tree stuff, I feel like at one point, because you see medieval manuscripts of all these people fighting dragons, fighting these giant snails and rabbits. I feel like humanity at one point just decided, for safety reasons, hey, we need to like reduce the size of these animals and kill them off somehow, so we can actually have a place to live, and then which probably motivated to cut down giant trees, because like within the Catholic tradition and lore, cutting down of sacred trees has always been encouraged because it was seen as you see there's this one saint
How about Christmas?
What?
The
Down
Catholics
that
want to
tree
get rid of
here.
your culture.
I would
so
not want to
destroy
have the
anyone's
bloodline that's like, yeah, you said to cut down the trees. Like, who wants that juju?
culture. Yeah, right. True.
I forget. Oh yeah, Saint Boniface was one of them too. Yeah, he's and then what was it? I forgot the name of the other guy. Where like he's known for cutting down this Germanic pagan tree that was like connected to Freya or something, and then like they were like yeah, and then the Catholics praise him as being based and trad or whatever. But then like it's just like the amount of stuff we lost because of these people.
Yeah, it's funny. Based in trad is less and less appealing, and woke sounds like something to commandeer and take over. I think let's take over woke.
Right? Retake the woke.
I'm taking it back.
Unwoken.
I
Put
get
to
triggered
sleep.
when
To
people
sleep.
say woke. I just don't like it.
Well, usually they mean it so pejoratively, and
Right.
I feel like
yeah.
do you not like it when they say it in a
Woke
positive?
joke?
Have you heard it? I haven't heard it in a positive light in years. That's one
Right,
thing.
same. Yeah, I've been-
You know what triggers me? You know what triggers me?
Go woke,
I'm
woke,
like,
woke.
don't tell anyone I said this. This triggers me so bad.
Don't tell anyone I said this on this.
Hey, we
live.
won't tell
On the
anybody.
live.
I forgot there's all these other
Secret is
people
safe with
listening
you two.
forever. Okay, but this also shows when somebody's false. And now this is going to help weed them out. Whatever. Okay, when people say, what triggers me is when people say, I'm going to hold space for you. When they say like, oh, she did this or
What?
he did that. And so I held space for them. I'm like, and it just makes me want to lose my mind and start talking like Gilbert Godfrey, where I'm like, wait, what? Wait, you're holding,
I've
you're
never
holding
heard this in
space.
my life.
Wait, so they did something.
Space between your ears.
You know what I'm saying though? Like how crazy that is. I'm like,
but like,
oh well,
someone
he
will
was
say-
cheating. He was
thing
hooking
in
up with other girls,
America?
so I held space for him. Like, wait, what?
I've
Wait,
never heard
wait.
it in that context. I
No,
usually
it's
hear
so
like
bad.
Twitter
Any-
has spaces, so people are, I'm
R.I.P.
gonna hold a
Godly,
space
though.
with you on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So I don't know. I have a whole different context. But
Bernie, what were you
is
gonna
it
say?
like,
You're gonna know
I'm
now.
going in a safe space room with you, like, and like praying for you, sort of thing. Like, what does that even mean? Like,
oh, dude, when
Like, you know
people
what?
separate
But
their
I held
energies from you.
space for them. Like, wait. It just sounds like a fancy way of saying somebody did something that's not right, and you gave them the space and time and energy to allow them for that to be okay, and you're co-signing on that, and then you're disguising it and wrapping it up in this Christmas present that you held space. When really, like, why don't you just say what it is? Yeah, Gilbert Godfrey. If you ever want me to talk like Gilbert Godfrey, just tell me.
Please do always.
You held
That would be
space.
great. Maybe not
Okay.
always, but a lot of the time it would be great. I like
Don't you
Gilbert.
love BPD, man?
we will have to have a Gilbert Godfrey Christmas episode.
Ooh.
This
John
guess
just sent
comes up.
10 as we finish the 2-hour thing. Because but right before we last but not least, we got a super chat from John Barrett for an Australian 10, and he says, quite whimsically and poetically, "Hi."
$10 for a high.
Hello.
John, that's
John,
amazing.
John Barrett,
Bro, just give that $10 to me, bro. Jesus Christ.
bro. They're Australian dollars. You wouldn't know what to do with them.
True.
Thank you guys for
Starving
being here.
Mar-
This is awesome.
Hopefully, everybody has full bellies and nobody's starving on this holiday weekend. And on that note, it reminds
Black
me
Friday.
that I need to get a job. So we'll see y'all sometime. Hopefully soon. Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, I guess gotta hit that outro.
Hold space. Just he's holding
Hold
space
space.
for all of us.
We should hold some spaces. Go to the Tartar Nova Discord. Join the Discord. We're gonna do some radio chats. We'll get like a bunch of people in there. We'll try to get that happening maybe today. That might be a thing.
Xirtus is the best at holding empty airspace. By filling it with gold.
Oh snap.